Hello, my name is Carolyn Anderson. I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I'm a first-time grower. I took the course by Stacy Murphy in early spring, and it gave me the confidence to jump in with 2 feet. I do not have a backyard with much sunshine. In fact, I was a little bit nervous that my front yard may not get the appropriate amount of sun and the amount of heat. But I decided to give this a try anyway. This was the area I scoped out in my front yard. It's not a very big area, as you can see. This is work in progress. I chose to put in pots for my garden because I thought it would be more visually attractive from curbside, being that this is my front yard. And in between the pots, I've got lots of lavender and thyme. Day one was June 11th, the day that I decided to take my indoor seedlings and put them into the soil, or the day that I seeded outdoors. By July 27th, which is day 42, whatever I have yielded has been absolutely beautiful and delicious. The lettuce I've been enjoying every single day for 6 weeks. I do daily smoothies and roughly about 1.5 to 2 cups a day in each smoothie. And then I've been enjoying salads, about 2 cups of lettuce in my salads. What have I learned? Well, everything. I have never gardened. I've never been around a gardener. I don't know gardening speak. I don't know anything about soil, seeding, indoor, outdoor, weather, anything. So everything has been new to me. It's just been a great experience. I needed to be a lot more aggressive in thinning, especially that lettuce on that back row. My beets never really took off. I think that needed to be some thinning. And then my onions and parsley, I just don't think they were able to get to the sun with everything else crowding them in the pots. And also, I learned that ladybugs really don't stick around for very long. My biggest takeaway is this has been a ton of fun, and I've learned from, and I'll continue to learn from all of my mistakes.
You're looking right now at my flower bed, not part of the crop rotation, but bringing those beneficial insects and just a lot of pleasure and peace to me as I enter into the garden. And I'm going to sweep across bed number 1 for you and come over here to give you a close-up shot of a small spade with some evidence of my obstacle here in North Carolina. This is native Carolina soil here in the trowel, and you'll see that it's quite a challenge from the standpoint of the clay content. And that really was my biggest obstacle with gardening. I gardened for a couple of years and had tried to amend the soil and then also grow in containers that weren't connected to the soil and really had limited success. And so taking the information that I learned from the course, doing raised beds, cedar 4x8 raised beds, bringing in topsoil and doing 2 inches of compost over before I did my planting this year has really made a difference and has helped me tremendously with the success of my plants and the harvest. You're looking at a shot of my cucumber plants, and you can see that they're loaded with blossoms right now. And I have already harvested 7 pounds of cucumbers so far. And then this is some more detail to give you a feeling for the successes. These are my cherry tomatoes, and you'll see that they are trellised up to a 8-foot 2x4 right now. And there's still harvests lower, but you can see the indeterminate plants are just growing like wildfire. And I am harvesting higher and higher. The crop has just been lovely this year, and the flavor on these has been amazing. Definitely making the investment and the change in the philosophy worth it for overcoming my obstacle.
Hi, this is Linda. I'm showing you my raised bed gardens and my containers. And this year, I have learned so much from this class and Stacy's presentations and handouts. This bed has yellow zucchini starting to grow. I was really late getting that in because I sprained my ankle 3 weeks ago, so I'm just finally starting to catch up again. But they're going to grow. I have different kinds of peppers growing. I've already been able to consume a couple of them. Some jalapenos, little red jalapenos, tomatoes, eggplants. And I've got herbs in different areas growing in here. Doing quite nicely. You can see I have a lot of thinning to do here because my poor peppers aren't going to get any sun if I don't get them trained a little bit better. That's what I've been working on. One of the big lessons I've learned is I planted things too close. I took Stacy's limits and 8 inches became 6 inches, 12 inches became 8 inches, and whoa, okay. This bed has 3 different kinds of kale, and that's been doing really, really well. Have gotten quite a few bunches of, I have red Russian kale, green curly kale, and dino kale. Delicious salads, sautés. In here I have leeks growing, an attempt to grow carrots and radishes and beets, but that was another lesson that I learned. I planted broccoli next to them, and I know it said 2 feet high, but I had no idea this thing was going to be. I planted 8 broccoli plants, and I've been eating a lot of broccoli. Delicious. And you can see now I'm getting the offshoots. So I'll continue to have more broccoli throughout the season. And I planted celery. So happy that I did that because I'm doing the come and cut again. Really, really tasty. I had green romaine, about 4 green romaine heads that did really well, but they were getting ready to bolt. So I pulled them out, consumed what I could. I had red romaine also, and that was very tasty. Got to give it to my sisters and me, and it's been quite beneficial. I got behind. I planned too much. It was worth it because I'm getting a lot of stuff here, but I've gotten a lot of lessons learned. I did not need 14 tomato plants. Come on, really. I mean, I'm going to love them, so I'm going to do a lot of putting away, dehydrating, canning, and freezing. It's been a very interesting class. I planted too much, too close, but a lot of it I just pulled out, and some of it I'm just waiting to see what happens. Thank you.
Hey, this is Sue. This is my garden. I took Stacy's class and learned so much. The first thing I learned that really impacted me a lot was to track my shadows, and I discovered how much shade I have in this garden in the winter and the colder times of the year. I'm in Southern California, so I have long growing seasons. But here in the summer, it's almost too hot. There's 3 beds here up against the house, and these were added because I had so much shade for certain parts of the year. So that was probably one of the most important things that I learned. And the second thing was kind of a planning thing, which was to schedule time every day to work in the garden, but keep it to 30 minutes so that I have a day when I work on the compost pile, a day when I do my harvesting, a day when I are weeding and so forth. And that's really made it manageable for me. Before then, it was long, big weekend projects that just were pretty overwhelming and almost didn't get done. The other thing I learned a lot about, or that really struck me, was the compost pile can be turned on a regular basis, like every week. And before, I would let it sit for 3 or 4 or 5 months, and then I would turn it, which really didn't get me very much compost. But I now realize how important compost is to the garden. So, for example, these 3 new beds I put in are filled mostly with compost, which is why they were so lush. They're a little on the getting old side here, but still lots and lots of stuff there. And this was my attempt at succession planting, so I have some of the same things in this bed as in this bed. Carrots, beets, basil, different herbs, and so on. Less compost available for these long beds that have been around for a while, and they're doing okay, but not so great. I'm excited because this is the first year I've ever actually grown peppers, and I got a couple actual peppers there. I sort of feel like the plant should be bigger, but maybe that's in next year's planning. I'll do better with that. And for fun, I grew some watermelon and cantaloupes, and I actually, there's only one cantaloupe still out here, but I've had something like 20 cantaloupes, so I'm really very pleased with that. I have had quite a bit of success on a lot of fronts. Okay, this is my tomatoes, onions, beets, daikon radishes, and basil. Doing very happy. Over here, I like this tub. It's up on blocks, and you know, they gave these plants away because they were about dead, so they're doing well. And my green beans, and I like my raised bed over here because I don't have to bend over. And I made a compost pile with 3 bins in it over there, which is too far from the garden. Things I learned was that I needed a better planting schedule, and I needed to do compost tea once a week. And I had a lot of problems with some kind of gray worms, and also with tomato worms. So next year I'll work more on planting by the moon and my planting schedule a little better. So had a great time. Take care.